Good morning, everyone. We're excited to welcome everyone to the panel discussion on climate action and business leadership in Georgia, moderated by Dean Maryam Alavi. And this is the first of a 4-event sequence for the launch of the Drawdown Georgia Business Compact, which is the first regional business compact in the US focused on climate action, something that we're very proud of. So my name is Beril Toktay, and I'm the faculty director of the Ray C. Anderson Center for Sustainable Business. I'm joined here by my colleague Michael Oxman, who's the managing director of the center, to welcome you and to give a bit of introduction background before handing over to Dean Alavi. Our center is nested in the Scheller College of Business at Georgia Tech, and our mission is to empower the leaders of tomorrow to create sustainable businesses and communities. Or to put it more pointedly, to educate and to inspire the Ray C. Andersons of tomorrow. We do this through our nationally recognized sustainability curriculum, our award-winning co-curricular student activities, through the cutting-edge research developed by our affiliated faculty, and last but not least, by closely partnering with the business community. The Drawdown Georgia Business Compact we're launching today is going to work across all of these channels, and we're very excited about that broad engagement that we're anticipating. One thing that's unique about the compact is that it builds off of the comprehensive multi-university, multi-partner Drawdown Georgia research effort. This work, which lasted about 1.5 years, identified 20 high-impact carbon mitigation solutions for the state. And you can learn more about these by visiting either the Drawdown Georgia Research Portal or the Drawdown Georgia website. And both of these sites can be reached through the Compact website that is linked in the chat. The research effort is continuing with a focus on solution activation and the creation of a statewide carbon emissions dashboard in parallel with the launch of the compact. Michael, handing over to you now. And you may be muted.
I was muted, my apologies. The compact will leverage the collective impact of Georgia's business community to achieve a net zero carbon future through a just, competitive, and sustainable transition. We are so thrilled to have 16 compact founding members so far. Anthem, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Atlanta Gas Light, Autodesk, Better Earth, Cox Enterprises, Delta Airlines, Eversheds Sutherland, Goodr, Google, Interface, Norfolk Southern, Southwire, TK Elevator, the Coca-Cola Company, UPS, and YKK Corporation of America. As you can see, they are large and small across different industries and with business activities across the state, positioning the compact to not only have an impact on carbon reduction, but also to promote jobs and ensure an equitable transition to a low carbon economy. We are thrilled to have 4 of these companies joining us today on this panel. Starting in January 2022, we will be launching the real work of the compact. We look forward to working with the compact members by initiating collaborative projects, exchanging best practices, supporting innovation platforms, and reporting on our collective progress. Indeed, we hope many of you participating today will consider having your organizations join the compact as founding members. If so, we would love to hear from you. My apologies. Finally, we want to express our gratitude to the Ray C. Anderson Foundation for its generous partnership and support. And we believe that Ray C. Anderson would be proud to see the business leadership represented in this compact. With that, we will turn over to the Dean of the Scheller College of Business and Stephen P. Zelnak Chair, Maryam Alavi. Dean Alavi has been a strong advocate for elevating sustainability in business, whether through our college's strategic planning process or in the classroom and in research. Dean Alavi, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Beryl and Michael. I could not be more excited to be here And to help with the official start of the Drawdown Georgia Business Compact and moderating our panel today, I will introduce the panel members shortly, but before doing so, I would like to share some initial thoughts. The compact could not come at a better time given the recent completion of Georgia Tech's new strategic plan and the Scheller College of Business's upcoming strategic plan release. As Michael mentioned, sustainability themes are prominent throughout the Georgia Tech strategic plan, and they remain core tenets for Scheller College, as evidenced by our top 5 rankings over the last 3 years by Corporate Knights MBA. We are seeing many companies embed sustainability and carbon mitigation in their core business strategy. The Drawdown Georgia Business Compact helps to leverage this momentum as well as position the state as not only a great place to do business, but also as a leader in local action on this pressing global issue. We now have 16 companies in the compact and are excited to welcome even more. Now to our panel discussion. I will introduce our panelists and then ask them a number of questions. After my questions, we will open it to the audience for their questions, and our panelists will answer as many questions as time permits. Audience, please input your questions by using chat or the Q&A function of the software. The bios of our panelists are in their LinkedIn profiles, and in the interest of time, I will not go over their many accomplishments and achievements, and will only introduce them by name and organizational affiliation. In alphabetical order, we have Jasmine Crowe, founder and CEO of Goodr. Nick Pearson.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Nick Pearson, Global Head of Energy Policy at Google. Josh Ragland, Chief Sustainability Officer for Norfolk Southern. And Savannah Seidel, Vice President of Sustainability for Better Earth. So let me start by asking each of you to very briefly tell us about your organization and how you found your way to your current role. And Jasmine, let me start with you.
Definitely. Again, thank you so much to the Ray C. Anderson Foundation and Project Drawdown Georgia for having me. Jasmine Crowe, founder and CEO of Goodr. And we really sit at the intersection of food waste and hunger. We believe that hunger is not an issue of scarcity, but rather a matter of logistics. And it's our belief that if we are wasting 72 billion pounds of perfectly good food every single year, then while we have at the same time last year food insecure, we really live by the mission that we need to connect excess food to people that need it. In addition to working on the edible spectrum, in 2019, when Goodr became a certified B Corp, we also began handling all food waste for our clients. So if it's inedible, we work with them in 3 different ways to compost, send food to animal farms, and if they have enough tonnage, we can actually convert it into biodiesel fuel or energy. We have 3 partners right now, Diverted and Storm Fisher, being 2 of the largest that host anaerobic digesters across the country. So think of Goodr as a waste management company specifically for food.
Very good. And just very briefly, how did you found your way to your current role? What got you going on this to begin with?
Yeah, I have been vested in the hunger fight, if you will, for over a decade. I started feeding people that were experiencing homelessness and hunger out of my apartment in 2013 and taking these meals down to the streets of downtown Atlanta and into low-income senior high-rises. And a video of my work went viral, and someone said, "This is so amazing. Who donates the food?" And the truth was nobody. And so I took to Google, how can I get food donated? What happened to extra food? And learned about food waste and became really upset about how much food was going to waste. And that was really the impetus that led me to where we are today.
Great. Well, thank you. That's a great story. Josh, the same question.
Yeah, great to be with you today. I'm currently the Chief Sustainability at Norfolk Southern. I've been with Norfolk Southern for 25 years now. We are primarily a freight rail company. We operate in the eastern 22 states of the United States, have over 4,000 companies from across the world. And my background with Norfolk Southern, my education is in wildlife and forestry, but I led for over 2 decades a lot of our nature-based solutions platform prior to assuming the Chief Sustainability role around 1.5 years ago. So thank you for having me, and it's an exciting day.
That's great. Thank you and welcome. Savannah, tell us about Better Earth.
It would be my pleasure, and just echoing the thanks. Thank you so much, the Ray C. Anderson Foundation, to the Scheller College, of Business, and Georgia Tech. Greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here and the opportunity for this business compact to exist. It's so exciting. So, Better Earth is a national compostable food service packaging provider. We're on a mission to make sustainability in the food service industry accessible. And what brought me to this role is just being a conscious consumer. Packaging is really, really personal for all of us. We all buy things, we all order things, we all get things, right? And I think we've often found packaging as this unfortunate necessity, but it doesn't have to be that way. And what's beautiful about being in this space is the opportunity to have an impact at scale. I mean, if you take one small bakery in Atlanta, they could serve 700,000 slices of cake to go per year. That means if you convert them over to plant-based compostable packaging that is composted, converting 700,000 units of single-use plastic away from our landfills, rivers, and streams, and the microplastics that can poison us. So it's incredibly empowering and motivating work, and it's a very dynamic field. So excited to be in it and excited to be here with all of you.
Well, great, thank you. And Nick, your corporation doesn't need to have a lot of introduction. We all know what Google does, but please tell us a little bit more in terms of how you found your way to your current role.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. I appreciate it, and many thanks to the foundation and to Georgia Tech. I really am looking forward to this discussion. As a proud son of Georgia, I am really, really excited about the progress being made here, and am excited about Drawdown Georgia and the potential that lies therein. As you mentioned, Google, we are very proud of our record on climate, on addressing the energy consumption that we as a very large company are responsible for. We are proud to have been carbon neutral since 2007, but that's not good enough. We aim to be 24/7 carbon free by 2030. That's something we take seriously, and we believe that can happen, not only for our company, but it's even more important that we create tools and a platform for ways that individuals and companies can help green themselves up and can help pay better attention to what their carbon output and their footprints are. So excited to join the conversation. As for background, again, I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I'm a Grady baby, so I have been on the Georgia Tech campus many, many times. I started my life in the energy and environment sector working on Capitol Hill many years ago. Then worked for a utility for a number of years, and I'm proud to see Dr. Marilyn Brown at Georgia Tech. We were former colleagues when she served on the board of the Tennessee Valley Authority. I've been at Google for about 6 years now and have headed up our energy program for the better part of 2021, and we're really excited about the progress that we're seeing already, but know that we have a momentous task ahead of us to make sure that we're creating positive impacts for the globe when it comes to energy consumption and climate change. So thank you again for the time, and look forward this discussion.
Well, thank you all for being here. Welcome. And let me move to my second question, and I would like to address it to Savannah first. So the second question is, can you talk about your organization's commitment to carbon reduction and how you anticipate that your membership in the compact can advance that commitment?
It'd be my pleasure. It goes without saying to this group and to the attendees that are with us that we are facing an existential crisis in global climate change, and the food service industry's impact is substantial and undeniable. I mean, food service packaging makes up roughly 1/3 of all U.S. municipal solid waste, and the world's food system is responsible for 1/4 of greenhouse gases that humans generate each year. And I think this panel actually offers a statement in its own that half of the panelists here are speaking on behalf of solutions to systemic issues in the food service industry. So excited to be here alongside you, Jasmine. And I'm sure we both agree that no one makes a lock without a key, and that every problem presents an even greater opportunity. And at Better Earth, we believe that food and the value chain around it can be our silver bullet to a better earth. And where better to start than right here in our own community in Georgia. So at Better Earth, we are working steadily towards our goal of net zero emissions by 2030 by focusing first as a smaller and growing company on reducing our supply chain, reducing the carbon emissions within our supply chain. Our most recent achievement towards that was our successful launch of domestic manufacturing infrastructure right here in the American Southeast, that helps us dramatically reduce the carbon emissions of our supply chain, create long-term contracts for the American farmers growing the raw materials for our products in the region, and helping revitalize our southern soil by growing naturally regenerative crops on formerly underutilized land. But as a company seeking to advance both carbon drawdown as well as a circular economy, we can't stop there. We're also actively investing in commercial composting infrastructure across the Southeast to responsibly dispose of our compostable packaging and support this linchpin solution towards drawdown. In fact, Project Drawdown flags that composting is a critical solution that can sequester between 2 to 3 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And while we have momentum, can't solve these huge problems on our own. We joined the Business Compact because it is so important for us to surround ourselves with a diverse community of like-minded Georgia companies to share, ideate, and collaborate in a safe space. So often, the collaborative spirit of a business community is stifled to that of our internal organizations. For fear of sharing, we'll lose competition or competitive edge or losing some margin. Well, I feel like that fear is exactly what got us into this mess in the first place. And now more than ever, we need to come together and embrace radical transparency and vulnerability to fight for the shared vision of a better, safer, and more sustainable future. And so with all of that, I just hope that the Drawdown Georgia Business Compact is truly a pilot that we can all scale together. So thanks so much for that question.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And Josh, the same question.
Yeah, so as to support our decarbonization strategy, Norfolk Southern, we set an ambitious target to reduce our Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions intensity by 42% over a 15-year period, which is quite ambitious. The great news is we made a 7% improvement in that last year alone, and that's primarily driven by our improvements in locomotive fuel efficiency. So that does account for over 90% of our emissions. So that's really where we are focusing at, is on further modernizing our fleet, reducing our emissions, but also partnering with our customers to help them reduce their supply chain emissions. This is a growing concern for our customer base. Rail is on average 75% less emissions than truck. So there is a huge opportunity there. If you travel the interstate in Georgia, you realize what that opportunity is right here in our state. So we definitely think that we are part of the solution, but this is a big problem, and it's going to require a lot of collaboration across multiple industries. So we really are excited about the compact and being here, and look to learn from others that are involved.
Great, thank you. Nick?
Thanks, Miriam. We're so excited about the compact, primarily for a number of reasons, but the collaboration piece is we at Google, we consume about 19 terawatt hours of energy globally every year. That's a lot. And we have aggressive objectives that we put in place for 2030 on how we want to make sure that we are being accountable to our consumers, to our employees, to our users, to our customers on making sure that our products are serving in the best way they can, but also that we're being accountable to the environment that we're surrounded by. And one of the things I love about Drawdown is that this is going to create a platform for collaboration. We've learned a lot of things through our 3 decades of trying to address our footprint at the company. Those are things that we can share with other companies. Those are things that we've planned that we share with our users. But there's more that we can learn as well. We don't know everything by any means. we aren't the sort of the holders of knowledge on how to address these issues. And so that's part of what I love about Drawdown is just the opportunity to meet with other companies of varying sizes that have found new solutions that can help address what, as Savannah said, this is a very serious issue, and now is well past the time that we need to make sure that we're doing putting forth our full effort in addressing the dire climate issues that we're seeing around the world. So not only the collaboration, but also innovation. We can't get there doing what we've done already. We've got to find new tools, new ways to address climate change through carbon-free tools, through carbon-free supplies. That's something that we are proud of. We're glad to see that the federal government is stepping its game up as well, and that they are passing bills that are focusing on research and development, and that are key to finding the next ways to power our homes, to power our businesses, our cars, transportation. So we look forward to partnering not only with other companies and with the governments, but also with our users and with the American people and people of Georgia to help address these issues.
Great, thank you. Jasmine. Oh, I think we might have. Okay, well, I'm sure she's going to get back on, so I'm going to move on to the next question. You started to talk about this compact as a model for, or platform for collaboration and technology innovation in the region. Are there any specific examples or projects that may come to mind that you think could really benefit from collaboration and technology innovation through Compact?
Was that for me, Miriam?
For anybody. This is a free question.
Well, since I'm unmuted, I'll go first. I think Georgia is really key and is a true test bed for how we can address these issues. I mean, if you look just a couple of hours east of Atlanta, you can see the Plant Vogtle, which will be the newest nuclear plant brought online in the U.S. That's a form of carbon-free energy. That's something that we support. It's great, and we're hopeful that will come on soon. But we also think that it's important to look down the road. What's coming next? Is it small modular reactors? Are they advanced nuclear? Is it geothermal? There are lots of different options that are out there, and what we are really focused on is providing funding, providing research and development know-how, our brain power as a company, our employees' experience throughout the tech sector and other parts of the economy that we're involved in to find where the next solution is going to be for how to address this serious issue. So I think that's the key piece is, as we have those discussions with other companies, as we have these discussions with smart folks like, the employees, the professors, the students at Georgia Tech, it really is a prime time and a prime opportunity to and I hate to use the old adage, but really skating to where the puck is going, as opposed to just relying on what we've done for years up to this point.
Very good. I see Jasmine is back. So Jasmine, we wanted you to have an opportunity to respond to the previous question, which had to do with talking about your organization's commitment to carbon reduction and how you anticipate that your membership in the compact can advance that particular commitment.
Yes, thanks. Sorry about that. It just said my network connection was lost. So I think one of the biggest things that we think about carbon here at Goodr is it starts in the house. So if you ever come and visit us, which I welcome you all to, you're going to see that we have probably like 8 different receptacles here. I don't know if Jill Wu from our team is here, but she literally goes through the trash. If anything is ever in the wrong area, you best believe a message goes out in our Teams chat or Slack, like who put this here? And it really does start with how we operate as individuals, which comes into our company. So we compost here, we recycle here, we take styrofoam and even recycle it, and we try not to use those things in the facility. I think another big thing about how we work with Goodr is when we divert food waste from our businesses, we've built a nationwide nonprofit network which actually matches that food with a nonprofit within a very close radius. what we see is all of our donation deliveries of this food always make us either carbon neutral or carbon negative, because we're not driving past 30 different organizations to get to one. We're connecting really closely and really efficiently. I think being part of this collaborative is going to help. I think it's just like when we became a B Corp in 2019. These are the things that you do to stand on what your business believes in. And by joining this collaborative, not only Goodr, but all of the other 15 companies that took this initiative, we're stating and we're going to be doing in our actions that we are committed to these sustainable development goals. And I would also say that with Goodr, we don't even look at the 2030 goals. We always think like, what can we do today? Because sometimes 2030 seems so far away and we think we have time. And the reality is we only have one planet. It's deteriorating every single day. And it is about what we do today that will actually make the future better for all of us. And so we like to think right now and not so much 9 years in advance. And I encourage others to do that as well.
Very good. So let me now, thank you. Let me now go back to the question that we started on, and Nick gave us very specific examples and ways and ideas about how Compact can be used as a model or platform for collaboration and technology innovations in the region. So let me just see if there's anybody else that would like to come up with ideas and suggestions and specific examples in this area.
I'd be happy to jump in as well, and inspired by what you were saying, Nick. Again, I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but I think that in a space where there's so much research provided by Georgia Tech and so much knowledge by all of the member companies here, I think it'll be really great. I'm speaking on behalf of a small company that's starting out and growing. Best practices and ideas that have been learned through others around engaging third parties that we often have to work with in order to support shipping and in order to support supply chain. So those scope 2 and 3 emissions, how we begin to engage with that, because with smaller companies, those third parties are so much a part of our kind of running ship. So in terms of our carbon emissions, they are so much a part of it. So how do we get them to participate? I think those will be really fun conversations to have and to explore as part of the Business Compact.
Okay, so anybody else wants to, this is what I call cold calling, right? Again, years of teaching and all of that. So it's now, so anybody else wants to contribute or give other examples? That would be great. If not, we can move to the next question.
I would just say along the same lines of what Savannah was sharing there is how do we put more tools in our customers' hands, consumers' hands, businesses' hands to make good decisions around their supply chain. So that's part of our goal, is creating the platforms that customers can actually see their emissions for their shipments and also understand the impacts of decisions when they analyze modal shift. So we're launching a number of digital platforms to help our customers do that, along with the digital tools we put in the hands of our customers, our employees. Technology is part of our plan to not only improve efficiency, safety, but sustainability. And so it's key, and it's part of our strategic plan going forward.
Very good. Any other comments? If not, I'm ready to move to the next question. Okay, move on. All right. So in the introduction, each of you gave an overview of your company, the kind of activities that you're engaged in. So what I want to do is provide you with opportunities to give other type of specific company-related examples and ideas that you may have to share. Anyone?
I'll hop in. Definitely want to bring you guys an idea of what we're seeing with our work with the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. We have been working luckily with the airport since 2018. And one of the things, as you guys all know, jets and airplanes are huge carbon emitters, right? We know this. And so when I started speaking to the airport about working with Goodr, that was kind of the vantage point that I came in, is that you're putting out so much carbon. Let's capture some of this back. And one of the things that we did is it's a lot about education. And I want us all to realize that where we're going isn't going to happen overnight. Being part of this collaborative and making these pledges is super important, but we do have to educate a lot of people. And so one of the things that we had to do is do a sustainable food court initiative. And what that meant is that we got all of the food court, every single concessionaire, to convert into compostable materials. And let me tell you, it was really hard because for some of those concessionaires, the compostable materials were a little bit more expensive. And you have to show them like, okay, here's the ROI. You may not see it directly on your bottom line, but the environment sees it, and it's a couple of cents more. And so really kind of educating people when we can, I think is important. So one of the services that Goodr offers is we do trash talking. And so you can hire us. We go out to different customers, and we literally stand by trash cans, by compost bins, by recycle bins, and we educate everyday people about what happens when something that is able to be composted or able to be recycled goes into a landfill bin. And we let them know, like, you know how long plastic stays around, diapers never disposed, like letting people know these kind of things. A lot of times it's just about education, and we've had that opportunity on so many occasions to do that in the world's busiest airport where millions of passengers are going through every day, because we can make all the pledges that we want, but as Josh said, how do we actually empower our customers to join us in this journey? And a lot of that is education, and so we need to bring that to the fold as we go out and about this mission. We can't do it by ourselves.
That's great. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to ask the same question from all of you. So my next question is, in addition to carbon reduction, the compact is also very focused on ensuring that beyond carbon, issues such as equity are front and center. Given increasing corporate focus on equity, how can the compact advance impact on this area as well as your own organizational goals? So let me start by going to Savannah first.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure, and appreciate the question. And I think that goes back to just how authentic this initiative is to Georgia and to the Georgia community, because this is such an important value for us here in the state and should be an important value and part of any climate action conversation. You know, at Better Earth, we're proud, going back to what Jasmine was saying, we're starting at home, starting with your team and where you are. We're proud to be located in Clarkston, Georgia, which is known as the most diverse square mile in the United States. And we're also proud in an industry that skews a certain way to have 75% of our team, and when I say industry, I'm talking about the packaging manufacturing industry, 75% of our team made up of women or underrepresented populations, something that we take a lot of pride in. But it's a journey, and going back to collaboration, I'm really excited not just to share where we're at, but also learning through the compact what we can do to continue to support diversity, equity, inclusion, and most importantly, environmental justice, and learn those best practices from others.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to ask the three of you who have not responded, literally take a minute, no longer than a minute, to provide your answers, please. Nick?
I would just say, Mary Ann, that it's no surprise that a lot of our facilities throughout the state of Georgia are in areas of lower income communities, minority communities. So our focus in those areas is really what can we do to improve air quality, for public health benefits. We've had a lot of great examples here in the state of Georgia on our eco locomotives, our public-private partnerships there that reduce emissions, up to 75%. We're also partnering on overhead cranes to reduce the emissions of those. So anything that we can do to provide cleaner air, it's also going to be less noise for the communities that we operate. We really see that's key going forward as part of our, decarbonization strategy, particularly in urban areas.
Excellent. Nick, 1 minute.
Yeah, I'll take a minute. For us, it's sort of a two-pronged approach. Number one, through job creation. We at Google, we have made a commitment to expanding our offices in areas where we know there are more diverse candidates. Atlanta is one of our hubs, along with Washington, D.C., Chicago, and New York City, where we're growing by leaps and bounds, and we're hiring, and our workforce is going to reflect the communities where we're based, including our Atlanta office right in Midtown off of West Peachtree. It's important that, because we are a company that has seen some success, we like to create jobs. We need more talent. But that's not the only way that we can have a positive impact when it comes to equity. In addition to the hirings that we're having, we're also creating tools that support small and medium-sized businesses, specifically those that are owned and founded by minorities. We think that's really important to provide a platform by which they can use our tools to help expand their reach, that they can get out the good news of what they are either selling or the services that they're providing. And we think that will not only help for the owners and founders, but also creates an opportunity for them to hire more people, create more jobs, and have a positive impact on the economic developments of the communities.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Nick. I drive by Google office in Midtown Atlanta anytime I come to campus. Jasmine.
Yeah, I think when you think of equity, Goodr is 100% at the forefront of it. We are a Black woman-owned and founded company. 85% of our employees are women. And we really hit every single spectrum. Beyond that, we're also certified as a women-owned business enterprise, a minority-owned business enterprise, and a disadvantaged business enterprise. And I think where I would call out is sometimes we find it so hard to actually do business with the Googles and the Norfolk Southerns of the world. And so we really want to figure out how do we get more equity and access to do business with these kind of customers. It's been really hard, but I think at the core of what we do, we are all about equity and access beyond just the fact that 85% of us are women and that we are a Black founded company. Several of our team members are also HBCU graduates, and that's something we're really proud of.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This concludes our panel discussion. Before turning it over to the audience questions, I would like to thank our esteemed panelists for spending time with us today and for sharing their insights. Your leadership is inspiring, and we have learned so much from you. You have provided many invaluable insights for the students, professionals, and executives who are attending this session. My sincere thanks to Beryl Takte, Professor Beryl Takte, and Michael Oxman, and the amazing team of Racy Anderson for the great work that they do and for their many contributions to this significant topic of our time. So let me now turn it for the audience questions.
Thank you, Miriam, and we couldn't be doing all of this without your support and the Scheller College's excellent and committed staff. So we'd like to give our thanks to you and our shout out to all the staff. And to the center staff, I noticed a shout out to David Eady. He's been tirelessly taking the flag forward, as has the rest of our team. So thanks, everyone. So you can drop your questions in the chat, and we'll take it and share them with the panelists. So please keep them coming, fast and furious, and perhaps even challenging questions. So first of all, we have a kind of affirmation of the work that you're all doing on food waste. A point that said, I read that 1/3 of all food in the US is thrown away. Very depressing statistics. That still happens when we have the ability to redistribute it to others in need. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And that's from Ross Maiwand. Elba is leading with a question, says, put your 2022 hat on. Can you share the first sustainability action that you will be focused on moving forward in 2022? And I guess
that's to everyone, I think.
To everyone,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can share that Goodr is moving into a new facility, and so as we start 2022, we're really making sure that that facility is as sustainable as possible. Not only are we thinking about the lighting, water usage, the materials, we're actually purchasing a lot of things that are recycled. We are keeping stuff that otherwise would have been thrown in landfill, and we're actually making new things out of it. So I think you're going to see a lot about that. Very similar to our plant walls, you're going to see a lot of that in our office as well. So I think for me, that's like the first thing is, if this is going to be our new home, making sure that it's very sustainable in the office.
Yeah, I would say the same thing on Norfolk Southern's part. Our new construction, our new headquarters building in Midtown is going to be launched here in a few weeks. Our move-in date for most of our employees is going to be in January. That is anticipated to be gold LEED certified. We're collecting 100% of the stormwater for the property. It's very energy efficient. It's going to be a wonderful environment for our employees. So we're excited to have our headquarters, even though we've had operations in Georgia for over 150 years. Moving our headquarters here is a really exciting time for our company, and also as we continue to further engage with the community.
Thank you. If either Savannah or Nick would like to share, be great to hear.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to add in. I was mulling on this question a bit, and then I was thinking about January. And actually, in late January, we will be in Texas to the United States Composting Council to their big conference, Compost 2022, where we will be engaging with composters around the country. For us, as a circular company, it is incredibly important for us to understand the needs, barriers, obstacles, and opportunities for us to support from field to fork to field. So we're really excited to engage with composters in January and better understand what their current barriers are and opportunities for the compostable products companies to support them. That's an immediate priority.
Thank you.
And I'll go very quickly. I agree with everything that my fellow panelists have said, but I would really emphasize what Jasmine has pointed out, that we can't look too far down the road. We have to focus on now. And while 2022, we've got goals and plans in place, we're operating now. And part of that is, sharing the stories of what we're learning in the field, both at our data centers, at our campuses that we've got globally. But we're going to COP26 in Glasgow, and we are encouraging and imploring our global world leaders to step their games up as well and to improve and put in place policies and laws that are going to make a positive impact on the climate. And that's something that we're doing now and that we're focusing on engaging even more so going forward into 2022, because we think that's the key piece. Is, it's important that we have technology and innovations that are making it easier to green up the global footprint, but it's also important to make sure that we have rules and regulation and laws that help encourage and help set guideposts. That's something that we're focused on now and will be focused on in 2022 as well.
Yeah. And what you're saying is so important about what is it that companies that are leading in this space are lobbying for at multiple levels of government. So you said that this is your call to world leaders. Can you share some specific ways in which you're engaging in the U.S. to move the regulatory landscape to be more conducive to innovations and technologies being adopted?
Yeah, more than happy to. I won't belabor the point, but I will say that we have been working with the administration on their 24/7 carbon-free goal. We are hoping that they are going to sign an executive order putting this in place in the next few months. We've been providing insights on what we've seen at Google and in our pursuit of our goal, but also how it can be spread to the federal government around the country. We think that's an important part. We're having those conversations with the Biden administration. They've been good conversations, but what really boils down to is when the rubber meets the road. We've supported the climate provisions in the current legislative packages that are before Congress right now, the Build Back Better plan, the clean energy tax breaks, which we think are very, very key for those producers that are out there and that are supplying a significant amount of these sources that companies like ours use. So we want to see this happening. We put our government affairs folks out to go and advocate for these bills and for these provisions, and we are hopeful that that Congress will make it happen and get this done and get it across the finish line in short fashion.
So there's lots of audience questions. So I'm torn between asking a follow-up on that, but perhaps I'll be for another panel about regionally what are some expectations from state and local government that you'd love to see happen. If any of you want to quickly speak to that, please do, and then we'll jump back to the audience questions.
Well, I'll just add in that I think there's a lot of opportunity in legislation around packaging on the regional and city level. That's actually where things have been incredibly dynamic. You're seeing single-use plastics bans growing exponentially in cities across the country. And you're also seeing from a statewide basis, packaging labeling bills, as well as extended producer responsibility bills around the country. And so packaging and all of this legislation, it's really just coming to the forefront. I think there's still a lot that all of us are going to continue to learn through this space. And just to that end, I think this Drawdown Compact is going to be such an exciting space for us to share what we're learning in our different verticals, learn from each other as we're continuing to grow within these spaces. So I'm going to continue to be tracking that within the local and statewide legislative landscape.
Thank you. Michael, over to you for continuing the questions.
Oh, okay. I was just really going to quickly add on to what Savannah said. We are seeing a lot of legislation in other states around food waste. In California, January 2022, SB 1383 goes into effect, which actually fines businesses for not donating edible food to people in need and diverting up to 75% of their food waste. I do think if you were looking at a pie chart of food waste, 70% of food waste is still being wasted. About 27% will be recycled in some fashion. And then 2 to 3% is all that gets donated. And I think after coming off of what we all saw in 2020 with people wrapped around in lines for food banks and access to food, I do think legislation to demand that people give edible food to people in need is going to be really paramount. A lot of companies tout prevention. We've prevented this many pounds of food from going to waste, but what it's really about is diversion. Because source reduction is one thing, but if you're still producing and there's still waste, that's something that you've got to be held accountable for. I'm hopeful that the SEC's new law will go into effect at the end of the year that will require public companies to report on their sustainability efforts, and especially food waste and diversion, because as Project Drawdown has already stated, this is one of the #1 things we can do to combat climate change, and I just don't think people are taking it seriously enough.
Thanks for sharing that, Jasmine.
Thank you, Jasmine. So there's a question here I wanted to address from Molly Samuel. She's asked, can you share how specifics on how the businesses will be working together and how you'll track and measure progress towards the net zero goal? And I'm happy to take a quick pass at responding to that and then welcome the responses from our panelists. So as we launch the compact and move into doing the work as a compact, there's several activities that we anticipate moving forward. One is developing collaborative projects that compact participants, or identifying collaborative projects that compact participants can engage in. And those ideas may come directly from compact participants or from partners with whom we are going to be working. One of our partners, as an example of that, is South Face Energy Institute here in Atlanta. We would anticipate ideas coming from organizations such as them and others. So that's one place where, and then the ideas could be anything from, common challenges like how do we get enough EV infrastructure in place? How can we do more around conservation agriculture? How do we expand large-scale solar? So these are some of the things that we expect to be working on. We're also going to be looking at how do we really facilitate innovation in this space such that we can scale these solutions. And there's a number of ways to do that. One is working with companies and with their engagement with their employees on sustainability ideas and innovations. The other is potentially working to seed startups that might come from the mentoring, might come from the compact itself. And then there's a whole range of potential student engagement as well that can focus on innovation. And then the third area is a community of practice. How do we learn from each other? We've got a diverse group of companies here that really can complement each other. We work better as a collective. We come from different industries of different sizes, different parts of the state represented. So making sure that we are, in fact, creating a platform for those best practices to be exchanged. And then on the reporting question, this is something that one of the first things we're going to be doing in working with the compact is making sure that we are, in fact, able to measure progress. As a requirement of joining the compact, one of the requirements is to, in fact, agree to report on the activities that in a given year that a company has participated in, including asking companies to participate in at least one collaborative initiative across the compact. And then the specifics of the reporting, we're still working that through, but we recognize that as a really important question. And with that, I'm actually going to transition to another question that came in from Jonathan Siskin, and I'm going to make the panelists answer this one. There seems to be a growing concerns around greenwashing. What are ways the sustainability community can drive accountability and transparency? How do we continue to build trust in creating real impact? I have my opinions, but I think I should stop talking and let you guys talk. Anyone?
I'm happy to start because it's something that I think is rampant in the packaging industry. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I get overwhelmed going to the grocery store, choosing between all of the different natural products, or I've seen words like oxo biodegradable. I don't even know. I mean, it's ridiculous what's happening, and it's scary. And so I think I am excited to share with the compact what we have been learning as we continue to think about and rethink packaging every single day. So hopefully it saves somebody in the compact some time as they're trying to navigate certain decisions for their products or for their companies. Just as an example and as a quick plug for everybody listening in, there are some regulations and structures in place to help combat greenwashing, especially in the packaging space. Never trust when you see the word biodegradable. Do not trust it because it is not legally binding. I'm biodegradable. This computer I'm talking on is biodegradable because there's no sense of bound time. It's only just however long the eons that it'll take for that computer to break down, that would be its time to biodegrade. The term compostable is legally bound and is defined by third-party certifications that require it to compost in a safe way that adds nutrients to our soil in under 90 days. When you see that term, you can know and feel rest assured that that is something that has been under those legal ramifications. So all to say that these are all the different things that we all have to navigate all the time, and it can be very exhausting. So I hope to share what we've been learning with others. I'm sure I have a lot I can continue to learn through other compact members, and hopefully we're able to summarize some of the insights that we're learning that we can then also share publicly to different consumers as well.
Thanks for that.
I'll step in here just really quickly. I agree with everything that Savannah says, and I feel like I've said this multiple times, but I'll echo what Jasmine said earlier regarding the SEC and the current rules that they're considering. Transparency is so key on this, and it's a key. Like it's very, very important that as we collaborate amongst companies, not only are we being honest with ourselves about what we're actually doing, but also like sharing the best practices that we have in place. But again, I think what Jasmine said is spot on. As we see those rules and regulations that are being put in place, that we encourage some real toothiness to it, and that they're actually, we're calling on public companies to do their part, and they aren't just doing it with their words, but more importantly with their actions.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. So I guess we're approaching the wrap up. I just want to highlight a couple of comments from the chat. One is from a student who's asking, will there be opportunities to engage and support this from a non-business perspective? And yes, we will do our best to engage students at the various junctures that will both contribute to their learning and will contribute to the strategy implementation of firms. There's another question from Akisi Stokes saying, have you considered the need for strategies to support potential capacity and cost barriers for small business to comply with carbon neutral initiatives? And I want to highlight that, we as Georgia Tech, we like to say that we have global impact, but it's also so important the local impact that we're having and that we can have. We are an anchor institution and we are taking that seriously. So as we rolled out the concept for this compact, we were very conscious, as Michael said, to try to reach out also to smaller businesses. And over time, we hope that we will have smaller and medium-sized enterprises join and become part of the community of practice, and to reduce their cost and expertise barriers and other challenges. by benefiting from the community of practice and best practices and tools and access to students, etc., that we're creating here. So we do have that as a goal, and we're looking to all of you to help us figure out that strategy. So I guess we can tag team on this closing. We'd like to thank all the panelists and all the participants, with apologies to those questions that we couldn't get to, for your partnership and your engagement. And we invite you to follow us on social media and to join the compact, or to lobby your own organization to join the compact if you have not done so. We'd also like to point out that we have a few events coming up, and I pass over to Michael to close it off with that.
Yes, so we would welcome having you back and bringing your friends and family to some planned events. On Tuesday, November 16th from 2 to 3 p.m., we're going to have an event entitled Equitable and Inclusive Innovation for Georgia Climate Action. That'll be moderated by Kay Husbands-Feeling, who is Dean, and Ivan Allen Jr. Chair at the Ivan Allen College of Liberal Arts here at Georgia Tech. And then on Thursday, November 18th from 11 to 12:30, we have a panel called Research to Action, 3 Climate Solutions for Georgia, and that's moderated by Dr. Marilyn Brown, Regents and Brooke Byers Professor of Sustainable Systems, who also served as the lead PI for the Drawdown Solution research. And then we do also have a final event that we're pulling together. It'll be a networking and more student-focused event sometime in January that all Compact members will be invited to join. And as Beryl said, we invite all of you to, if you're a company and you have an interest in joining the Compact, we would certainly welcome having you aboard. And if you're as an individual or other stakeholder, as it were, we welcome your outreach, supporting the Compact in any way that you'd like, and we're happy to also engage in those discussions with you. So with that, I think we're exactly on time. I wish we had another hour with these panelists. I want to thank Josh and Savannah and Nick and Jasmine. Your engagement is very much appreciated, and really enjoyed the conversation with you today, and looking forward to more.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Go Braves.
Thank you. Yeah, go Braves.
Indeed.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.